Check this out. I have this Windows executable file here. If you have a look at its properties, it's an application file. Before I run it, you can see I have 4 different browsers open, and each browser has something running inside it. Also, if I show you my Defender, it is running. You can see that real-time protection is enabled. Now, as I double-click this Phantom executable, our browsers are gone, and if we wait for a few more seconds, we get this zip file in our Discord channel. It's a zip file, so we can download it on our computer and extract it. Inside this zip are our cookies, completely decrypted cookies from all the browsers on our system. Now, if you don't know about cookies, I'm going to show what we can do with them. But before that, you can see that we've got more than 1,000 cookies in this zip file. These are from Google, Instagram, and whatever other apps were logged into those browsers. Now, let me show what we can do with these cookies before we move forward. For example, I have this Instagram session ID cookie here, and if I copy it, now in a new private Brave window, if I open Instagram, you can see we have no Instagram account logged in here, but if I open the developer tools, go to application, then cookies, and edit any cookie by changing the cookie name to session ID and using the copied value as its value, now save it, close the developer tools, and refresh the page one more time, you can see we're logged in here without any password or any other authentication, and this can be done with every other cookie there. I open my Claude account the same way, and similarly with every other account because we now have cookies from the browser. So this here was a simple example of an info stealer malware, a type of malware that steals information from your computer and sends it to command and control servers owned by hackers. In this case, I use Discord as my command and control. You might be wondering how. That's because this malware was completely vibe coded, and I also created a builder for it. Right here in my terminal, I have this Python file, and if I run it, it pops up a window called the Phantom Builder, which is basically a builder for creating this cookie stealer. If you don't know what builders are, they're basically applications that help hackers generate multiple malware samples that do the same thing, but have different signatures and customizations. For example, in this builder for our Phantom malware, we can set a custom Discord webhook, we can go to Discord, create a new channel, generate a webhook, and paste it right here. We can also change the file name, maybe something like system.exe, and leave the directory as it is. In the options, we can customize the junk code level, which makes the executable a bit harder to reverse engineer, and also change the mutex to give our functions different names. We can even select a custom icon. I already have one, so I'll just pick that. And there's also an option for UPX compression, which is optional and used to reduce the file size. Now, when I click on Build EXE, it takes a few seconds to generate a new malware sample. And as you can see from the pop-up, it's created successfully and asks if we want to open the directory. If we click yes, we can see our executable right here. This was just a demonstration of how real malware works, and surprisingly, I created all of this with the help of AI chatbots. The malware itself is written in Golang, and here's its template. When we use the builder, it simply modifies parts of this template and compiles a new executable using Golang, which results in a completely different binary with different signatures, allowing it to bypass signature-based detection used by many antiviruses. I'm not going to share this code publicly because even though it's relatively simple and AI generated, it can still cause a lot of trouble. But if you still want it, I have everything here on my platform. You can check it out through the link provided in the description. The platform is still under construction, so if you find anything broken or maybe a bug, you can let us know through our Discord server. I'm actively working on improving it, so your feedback would actually help a lot. Now, if we go back to Visual Studio Code, I can show you some of the functions here and give you a bit of a technical explanation of how this thing is working behind the scenes. Before I show that, I want to mention that this only works for a limited number of browsers, like Brave, Opera, and a few others. Basically most Chromium-based browsers without app-bound encryption. Chrome and Edge, on the other hand, have app-bound encryption, which is why it doesn't extract cookies from them, but there are ways to get cookies from those as well, which I'll show in upcoming videos where we'll go a bit deeper into bypass techniques and limitations. Now, I have this Python script that works exactly the same as the Go malware, but the functions are much clearer here, so we can actually read and understand what's going on instead of looking at obfuscated code. As you can see in this script, we've specified a list of different browsers along with their paths. These are all Chromium-based browsers. Then we have this function to close browsers. If you remember, our browser windows closed when we executed the executable. That's because it's essential. We can't access or decrypt cookies while the browser is running. I mean, there are other ways to do it while the browser is running, and I'll show that in another video, but for this specific method, we have to close the browsers first. When the browser is running, the cookies file gets locked, and we can't access it. Once we close the browser, it unlocks those files, and then we can read and process them. Next, we have this function to get the master key, which is used to decrypt cookies. This key is stored somewhere inside the local state file on your system, and the script basically parses that file to extract it. Once we have this key, we can decrypt the cookies, at least for browsers like Brave and Opera, since they don't use app-bound encryption. Chrome and Edge do use it, but as I said, we'll cover that in another video with a more advanced approach. After getting the master key, we retrieve the cookies from the SQLite database files and decrypt them using that key, and then everything gets written into a text file in a structured format so it's easier to use later. If I run this Python file, it'll take a moment to retrieve all the cookies and save them into a text file, which you can then review or use for testing purposes. Similarly, in our main malware written in Go, we have similar kinds of functions, but they're obfuscated, so they're not as readable and are a bit harder to reverse engineer. I'm comfortable writing in Python, but I'm quite new to Golang. And most of this was written with the help of AI, which made the whole process much faster. There are also some extra functions in the Go version, like detecting anti-forensics engines or adding small evasion tricks, but overall, the core logic is pretty much the same. It's just wrapped differently and made less readable because of obfuscation. This also doesn't work for Chrome because of app-bound encryption. But in an upcoming video, I'll show how we can handle that as well and what kind of challenges come with it. And if you know ways to improve this or make it more efficient, feel free to let me know in the comments section. I'd love to see different ideas. The builder itself was written in Python using tkinter for the GUI. It basically modifies values in the template file, like webhook, file name, and other options, and then compiles it, giving us a new binary with a different signature each time. This makes each build slightly unique, which is useful for testing and understanding how signature-based detection works. As a disclaimer, this is not something undetectable. No matter what you do, it's eventually going to get detected by Defender after some attempts. There are multiple reasons for that, but the biggest one is how loud it is. Killing all browser processes isn't normal behavior, and it can easily trigger EDR systems or raise suspicion. Also, repeated patterns, even with obfuscation, can still be flagged over time. This is purely for learning and educational purposes, just to understand how these things work under the hood. I've uploaded this on my platform along with some other tools, and I'm also working on a Python course for hackers, so make sure to check it out if you want to support the channel while learning something new.
Subscribe.